Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute since I posted anything, but I really haven't had anything that I felt like was really useful content. And today, something that has happened with the Mercedes is I'm getting a P0444 code, I think it is. We'll jump in there and look at the scanner here in a minute, scan tool. And so I tried changing the gas cap because that was one of the things that it said maybe, and the car's got 130,000 miles on it. I don't know if the gas cap has ever been replaced, so I replaced it, didn't fix the issue. And so the next thing in the parts canon is looking up, and it said that it may be the Purge Control Valve. Jumped on fcpeuro.com and ordered up a new Purge Control Valve. And so this part, really simple to replace, other than the clamps that hold the hoses on. But it is a little electric part like this. Goes like this, has a plug in the top, two valves that go in here, and this thing actuates, and when it actuates it does what it does, and it helps to purge the stuff where it needs to be purged. So with all that said, go ahead and jump in here and get to work on this. We'll first look at the code, and then we'll look at where the purge valve is located, and then swap it out and see if it fixes our problem. Okay, like I said, that's what let's see if we can see what the code is saying. I don't know, I can't see it through the camera. Hopefully we can see it. But anyway, it says a P0444, and it's evaporative emission system purge control valve circuit is open. So that tells me that that's that. Severity is 1 of 3. And if you're curious for these Mercedes, that OBD port is up here underneath the dash. Basically it plugs in like so, and then this door clips over. It's kind of neat really, but anyway, there's that. I went ahead and unplugged it, so let's jump up front and look at where this thing is. Okay, so I got some better light on it. We can actually see it. This is the Purge Control Valve solenoid doohickey, and it's sitting on a rubber mount down here, which is part of it. So what I got to do is get in here and clip that off, and then there's a boot back here that just pulls right off, and clip off that tie wrap right there, unplug it, and then put the new one in. I think the most difficult part is going to be getting this piece off. I've got a pair of nippers. We'll see if those will cut that off. If not, we'll figure it out. I might have to grab a Dremel and just cut that little edge off of it. But other than that, it does not seem to be that difficult of a task. But let's see what kind of things happen. All right, so I got a pair of these little clippers, nippers, whatever you want to call them, and I am going to slip it in here somehow. Maybe I just have to get around the side of it. Just want to make sure I don't break that wire. Oh well, if it went down somewhere hot, it went somewhere hot. I don't think it did. So, got that. And then, come on, how's this thing come apart? Probably didn't need to do that. I know you can't see this. Let me pause the camera for a minute. I'll pull this out and then show you what I'm doing when I get down there. All right, so let me show you. There's this little spring clip that goes around the side of this clip. This clip goes down on there, and then this thing kind of, goes on like that and pops over the front side to hold it in place. See if we can kind of see it without the camera rotating. But basically pull these tabs out and pop it out of there. And so it was interesting to get figured out. Now all I have to do is get rid of that clamp there, and we should be good to go. All right, so that spring clip that holds that hose on there, it just basically just hit it with that, and it popped it off. It's not going to be reusable, but that's okay. I got some other clamps that'll do just fine on that. So now it's time to swap out put the new one in, and clear the code, and then it's a matter of seeing how long it takes for it to either come back or go away for good. All right, so I got my pliers, and I just kind of hit it with this. I've got this pair of pliers that clamps down on it. So on the hose, slide that back over the hose, and then position it the right way. Slide that one back in there, and then release that clamp, and that should, no, that's not going to be tight enough. I know that for a fact. All right, well, that's not going to work. I can move that one with my hand. So, all right, let me get a smaller clamp. All right, so let me show you something. Note to self, I feel like a total idiot, but that's not surprising. This clip, it fought me tooth and nail to try to get it back together because I pulled that little ring off to get it to pop out. All you have to do is squeeze it and pull up. And then, yeah, I don't know why it was such a struggle for me, but just so you're aware, if you're doing this yourself, that's all it takes. So, all right, let me button this thing up. I'm going to put the tie wrap back on there like it was before, and clear the code, see what happens. All right, it's all back in. I had to use a screw-style clamp, and I don't like that. I'll probably come back later when I get some more of this type. I had some I thought would work, and they didn't work, and so that's basically what I did. I mean, that'll work fine. I just don't care for that type of a clamp in there. It doesn't belong there. Put the new tie wrap on. It's back on the rubber isolator, and this boot over here is back on. And the tie wrap I wrapped around so the tag end came out this side, and I clipped it off because the likelihood of me reaching down in here, I'd rather have, if there's a little sharp point on there, I want it facing away from where I'm going to do any, the majority of my hands will be in there or anything like that. So that's just a little bit of a tip for you. Pay attention to what direction they point so that you don't wind up cutting yourself on them later. I know they can be kind of a pain. So, all right, now I'm going to go back in, clear the codes, and I'll show you that, and hopefully we can see that when it happens, and we'll go from there, see what it does. I think that should be good, but, I mean, hopefully. All right, hopefully you can see this thing. It's linking up, but it's not quite there yet. And this is not the star system that the Mercedes-Benz uses, and so I don't have all the functionality that I'd really like to have with one of these. And one of these days I think I'm going to buy one of those, but this is the only Mercedes I have, and yeah, there we go. We're clicking and clanking. So P444, yes. Your race was successful. Turn the key off, pull the key out, put it back in. Yeah, it's still saying it again, so let's go ahead and, yes. I'm going to do this a couple of times. So I'll be back when I get the code to clear. I know the code will clear, it's not a big deal. All right, hopefully we can see that, but it says that it's cleared. There's no powertrain or anything else in there, so that part of it is good. All right, so that was actually a pretty easy part to replace. Where did I put the old one? Right here. I'll probably try to power this thing up and see if it clicks. It said something about if it clicks, it can, you can know that it's bad or not. But the new one, when I put the key in and started, or not, I didn't start the car, but when I turned the key on to clear the code, it clicked a lot louder than that clicked. So I'm assuming that was the bad part. But time will tell. And we'll revisit if we need to revisit it. Other than that, I think that's it for this video. Hopefully, probably didn't have any useful information for most people, but if you've got a Mercedes, yeah, it works. I've got this Innova. This works great on the Corvette. It works great on the truck. It works great on everything that's, a normal car, but Mercedes has this proprietary system, the Ambi Star. I'm going to buy a scan tool. It's all-in is about $500, but it's one car. I'm not sure if I'll own another Mercedes to justify spending that kind of money on it, because I've got a couple of other things I'd like to turn off that are in that system, and I may just take it down to the dealership and have them do it, and see what it charges. But if their shop fee is $250 to go in there and do that, then I might as well just buy my own. because at that point I paid for over half of it, and it got shipped right to the house. But enough rambling. Set that back down. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching Yellow Jacket Garage. If you feel like the content is helpful, let me know if there's something else you'd like me to touch on or to look at. I have a hard time coming up with content that I feel like is valid. And my wife tells me that my content is valid because somebody else that doesn't know how to do it or has never done it before, it matters. And whereas I look at it and I'm like, I don't see, where that might make a difference. But if you're one of my subscribers or one of my viewers and you're on the new side trying to figure things out, by all means let me know, and I can target some of my videos more towards that type of stuff. And if you have a specific vehicle or even a specific brand that you're having something, and then try to go older, because I don't have any of the computer systems to diagnose new cars because stuff's too expensive, and they just want to load up a part cannon and charge you a bunch of money for it. But anyway, enough for that. Like I said, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching Yellow Jacket Garage. If you like my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button, like, share, follow, whatever, all of that good stuff that you want to do. Probably put a couple of videos up from the last ones, one up here and one up here, or the other way around. But anyway, there's going to be probably 2 of them up there. Anyhow, thanks, have a great day, and we'll see you on down the road.